It's recording. Got it. All right, everybody. Hello, hello. I'm going to open up on Facebook so we can see your comments live. I am super excited about today. So if you guys have been following me for a while, you know I talk all about hormones and all about cycles, but I also talk so much about how trauma and your stress levels and the way you manage your life can just impact just as much as inflammation and food and all the things that we talk about. So I have a very special guest today who really specializes in this area. Meet my friend Kyla. We met because she's putting on a wonderful event that we'll talk more about a little bit later, surrounding a lot of these topics. And she asked me to be one of her guest speakers. And then in conversation, we realized we have a lot of similar passions. So I wanted her to come on and meet all of you. So I'm going to let you introduce yourself really quickly, Kyla. I'm going to tag everyone in here and then we'll get going.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Shannon. Yeah, such an honor to be here. I freaking love these conversations. I think, around our menstrual cycle and everything is our power center. And it's like a way we can access power as a woman. And that's something I'm really passionate about. So I'm an acupressurist. I found acupressure found me when I was just 16. And I was kind of going down a dark path from a traumatic childhood, and it really changed my life. Then I've been just leading that conversation. I actually turned 40 this year. So, it's been over 20 years. I'm very passionate. I have 2 kids. I wrote a book about periods when my daughter was born. She's 14 now. She got her period when she was 10. She read the book. It was pretty cool. That's like the only reason why I did it. I think that's awesome. But yeah, I've helped many women. I'm passionate about helping women in particular, just being a woman and the struggles we have as a woman, and still to this day, that's not far, we're not that far behind than we were, 30, 40, 50 years ago, in my personal opinion. So I'm really passionate about this conversation.
Yeah, I know it's interesting, and I've heard a lot of people say it recently, that especially for a woman, like our cycle is a vital sign. It gives you so much information about what's going on with the entire physicality of your body, both mental health, physical wellness. And if there are things off in your cycle, painful periods, heavy periods, abnormal periods, all the things, really that's another just warning sign that there's more things going on, and knowing what to address from there or what things to investigate is hugely important. And I talk a lot about, yes, test your hormones, test your adrenals, figure out, physiologically what's going on. But that trauma piece is huge. And I've noticed just in my work with women, a lot of women who have the craziest cycle issues tend to have some type of trauma, violence, things in the past that is either unresolved. Because as a woman, we really do trap that in that area, right? In that pelvic region, ovaries, uterus, even our abdomen. A lot of trauma and emotions get stuck there. Can you touch on that a little bit? What you've seen in your practice for that?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I had one client, and it took a few sessions. I'd say at least 6, 7, 8 sessions where we were letting down her walls slowly. And then finally, when we got to her power center and I was able to do some of that deep work with her, she had this memory that came back where she had been taken to a party from her parents. Her parents were wealthy. They take her to these parties, and she'd fall asleep in the coat room. And one night a man came in and violated her, and she froze up. She was a child. I think she was 7 or 8 years old. She froze up, and her parents picked her up like they always did, took her home, and she never talked about it again. And just that blows my mind, as far as us being why I do this work and do what I do. Another thing I wanted to say is when I healed my own period, through acupressure and stuff like that, I became so close with my period, in a sense too, that I actually free bleed. So when I get my period, I don't need anything to catch it. I have this relationship, I call it letting down. When my period tells me that it's gonna come out, I go to the bathroom. And on my first day, it's the heaviest, and I go to the bathroom about once an hour, but I know that, and I can still live my life, mostly around that, which I'm really passionate about. But, getting into this work and kind of moving into this online space and really wanting to help women, I took a day job, and I noticed my period started to change. It started to get more painful. It started to get more messy, and just lasting longer. And I was like, this is interesting. I'm not in my truth. I'm not following my calling. And as soon as I made that decision to step back into what I'm meant to do, my period just re-regulated again. It was mind-blowing. That was just a few months ago.
Yeah, no, but that's exactly what I see with women. Truly, your cycle is speaking to you. We've just never been trained to listen to it or to know that. And we've all become so accustomed to like, yeah, your period's going to suck. It's going to be painful. It's inconvenient. And that's the dialogue around it when that was never the intention, right? This is a beautiful time of cleansing. It's necessary to have a period, right? We talk often about birth control and IUDs and things that stop us from bleeding. You are literally just putting a hard stop to your body's ability to self-detox and self-heal when we're not having those regular monthly cycles. And then oftentimes that makes the transition into menopause and postmenopause a whole lot worse for women if you've not had those regular cycles. So I think that's a conversation number one, is like, we need a cycle, and it doesn't have to be this really painful, messy, uncomfortable. And when I tell them that, they really don't believe it because their whole life experience has been, oh, it's terrible, I hate it. And it doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah, or like you don't understand me, like you're not in my body, or it makes me sad, because, and that also, it shows me when a woman says that, how alone they feel in their pain, how disconnected, and maybe they've tried to get a lot of support, but they haven't gotten that right support that they really need. I wanted to say too, the questions that had me shift, and I just thought I'd share that here, is every month I'm kind of taken out of my life. I'm working my job or whatever, and then all of a sudden I'm too tired, I'm in a lot of pain. I kind of feel low, like maybe not depressed, but just like not happy, And I was like, this doesn't make sense. Like, why do I have my period? It can't just be about making babies. And I just don't believe my higher power, or however you want to say, or however you want to say it, gave me this period to make me suffer every single month. I just didn't believe that. So I went to problem solve to figure out, well, what is it for? Why do I have it? And that's when amazing answers, would start to come when we shift our mindset and look at it that way.
Yeah. What were some of the answers you found?
Quit my job again. Which I know a lot of women can't do that. That's like crazy to them. They're very dependent on, maybe a government job or a high corporate job or anything like that. So I'm not, like, my answers aren't necessarily right for you, whoever's listening. But for me, that was the case. And then once I did that, it was, drink more water, get more rest. You don't need to stress about this thing. Like maybe I'd obsess about, or trying to get it perfect, or trying to get it right. It's just like, it's okay, Kyla. Just relax, everything's okay. I hear that a lot from my power center. Everything's okay. Everything's okay.
I think that is a really powerful statement in general. So moving just from like cycles into women's health in general, I think that's powerful, right? Oftentimes we're fearful of what's going on with our body. I have women that I talk to all the time who are terrified of breast cancer or all of these things. And we live in this state of fear. I was actually talking to a woman yesterday who has had the same health issues for over 20 years, has tried all the things. And just in talking to her, I could feel the anxiousness around symptoms, around the problems, around, is it something worse? Like, am I missing something? And immediately, like, my first thought was, you're never going to heal if you're constantly in this state of being so stressed about being sick. Your body cannot heal in that trauma state to its full capacity, which is why I love tools like acupressure. So how do we teach women to start releasing some of that just trauma and fear and anxiety around not only their cycles, but their health in general? Because we're made to fear it, right? We're told, oh, it's going to happen to you. Oh, it happens to everybody. And we're left without answers and feeling alone, like, well, I'm just kind of waiting for the diagnosis. And I really believe we're making ourselves sick by doing that so often.
Yeah, and what you're talking about too is preventative health. And when somebody is that afraid, and I get it, like I've had those experiences. My son, when he was born, he got sepsis, and I wasn't going to see what natural remedy was going to save his life. But it's sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But I'll just go into acupressure. Is basically like they're all energetic meridians, right? It's based in TCM, which is a powerful ancient modality, often using acupuncture needles, which you don't have to use. And acupressure, just using finger pressure to access the meridians through pressure points, makes it very accessible for pretty much anybody. And you can be as close as a quarter to an actual pressure point for it to make a difference. Yeah. Sorry, we're going to say something.
No, so that's cool. I didn't realize you didn't have to be so specific. So I think that's really helpful for women is especially, so we've switched to working virtually as well. I don't always have a recommendation for someone they can go see in their area or their town. So I love being able to arm them with like, these are things you can do on your own at home. So dive a little bit more into that. Are there little things you can teach us today that they can start trying or implementing?
Yeah, I love teaching just a few pressure points that you will notice right away. Also, on my YouTube channel, Kyla Plaxton, I have tutorials on there that people do, they get their results. So one I'll just show you quickly is on the hand. It's a very popular point. So you may have already heard this one, but I love it. It's right in the web between the thumb and the forefinger. And if you push kind of right at the bottom of the web and into the forefinger bone, you should feel like I'm pushing fairly, firm.
Yeah.
You don't want to like push so hard that you're like tensing your body as much. So try to find like a happy medium of like pressing it firmly and then allowing it to flow. But you'll feel like a ping, like or a zing maybe.
Yeah.
Are you noticing anything, Shannyn?
Yeah. And you do want to feel a little bit of sensation, right? That's kind of the point.
Yeah, and this point is amazing for all kinds of things. Headaches, it's just drawing energy, out of the head, out of the shoulders, out of the arms, and it's really helpful for letting go. So like constipation, getting maybe your period going, soothing cramps. It's also used in, say, childbirth to help the baby, keep those contractions going and come out. So one point, can do so many different things, which I really love.
Actually, just on the shoulders kind of release, just holding that without even trying.
That's it's so powerful. And one of my other favorite points I always teach people around me so that they can do it, but is right at the very top of the shoulders. And you kind of have to do, I'd say, like one at a time. But if you do like 2 fingers out from the base of the neck and then you push down right at the top of the shoulder and into, often there's like a rolly, like a boulder there. So then just push down, like right down towards your.
And I think innately, like people do that. That's where we hold a lot of our attention too, right? So you see people doing that. They might not even realize why they're doing it, but holding it and letting that release.
Yeah. And anybody who's in a responsible role, this is like Atlas holding the weight of the world on his shoulders, letting go of burden, responsibility, just stress in general. It can be just like a point in between like the neck and the body that's like creating this, a dam between the energy flows going.
It looks like you're doing this with us. You shouldn't just be watching us. You should be doing it.
Yeah, I'd love to hear if anybody, is noticing what they're noticing from pressing these points.
So when you do that though, you're not necessarily trying to stretch, right? I feel like my first thing is like, well, let's stretch it out. You're just holding it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. No, thanks for pointing that out. And I was going to say, like, there's this tendency with massage, that we massage the area, but you're kind of just like going over the muscle and kind of digging up the fluff, but not actually like really moving that energetic. So I don't know if you've ever noticed you've gone for a massage that like feels really good at the time, but it doesn't really problem solve, like long term, where I find pressure points, they give you that longer lasting result with, so part of that's like stretching is very physical. And, back to that, we're not just physical beings, we're energetic, we're made of matter, you break us down, we're made of nothing. And so these pressure points are tapping into those energetics, which are very underlining with the cause. And you partner that, with nutrition and physicality and stuff. And like, you're just, doing everything you really can do. So I'm really passionate about that.
Yep. Agreed. All right. So we have our web of our hand. Tell us if you tried that one. We have one on our neck. You have another one that you like. What about for like, is there a specific one for anxiousness or overwhelm? I hear that a lot, like just not being able to calm anxiety.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. Right in the wrist, again, it's another common one. So it's 3 fingers down from the crease. And then on the 3rd finger, go right in the middle between, you can kind of feel the tendons. And then you want to go under and then push toward the hand.
Oh yeah. When you get there, you feel it. Like I can tell the different point. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this is, it's regulating the whole body. So this is called the triple warmer meridian. And there is 3 warmers basically in the whole. So there's the upper, middle, and then the lower. And it's like the carburetor for the body. They all have to be working, and often one is stuck in some area. Could be grief, chest, non-expression, no spiritual connection, that's like upper area. Middle, holding on to anger, lack of vision, unmotivated, that's middle. And then the lower warmer, our power center, feeling safe, having trust, feeling supported. So if you have any of that going on, right, this triple warmer will be in stagnation. So this point just starts to, move that and get you out of your dysregulation, that anxious feeling, and like smoothing it back down again.
What does it mean if mine's really sore? I need to extra hold.
I mean, you might be pushing really extra. How hard are you pushing?
No, I don't think so.
Not too much, yeah.
Is there a correlation with that though? Like places you feel it more intensely? Is that maybe an area that you're most
I think honestly, I mean, it can vary between each person, but to me, what that's saying is you're very sensitive. You're already very in tune with your body, so you feel it, and that's a point that wants to be pushed. So and it's going to move it, but because you feel it so intensely, it's going to move faster for you.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long in general do we hold these points for?
I say generally like a few breaths, or a minute or two if you want to, sink into it, or you're really feeling it. Each pressure point is like an internal journey. So you can tell, right? When you start to push them, you're just like, oh, I want to be here for like a little bit, or see how much I can release, right now, or put a part of your meditation or your morning or your evening routine, or your afternoon routine, and just kind of like be with yourself. And this is the whole point, is reconnecting to ourself, right? I think it's one of the fastest ways to be like, who am I? What am I feeling? What do I need right now? How am I doing? How can I show up for me? How can I be my own best friend? Yeah.
I talk about that so often with the women I work with. And one of the things we do early on in our time together is create that space every day, right? Whether you have 5 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever it is, to just come back to that stillness. And we use a lot of those kind of somatic tactile practices, and just a lot of times we don't spend enough time alone and quiet with our own body. We're in such a rush to get rid of the symptom or to alleviate something, but just to be with yourself is so powerful and so simple, and something everyone can do for free at home, every single day, to move the needle with your healing. And I've had so many women, I mean, we do all the things, right? We do hormone testing, we do protocols, we do nutrition, we do movement and exercise. But still to this day, the number one thing someone will tell me was their breakthrough moment was that daily routines, like all the things combined with finally taking time to allow your nervous system to just calm down, to get back into a healing state. That's the thing that catapults their results, even over and above, some of the things that you would think were big healing pieces. So I love that you're teaching that more too. It's so, so needed, and such a huge piece of what women are missing.
Yeah. And looking at, when we don't do that, what is that about? What does get in our way? Is it our boundaries? Do we have a hard time saying no? Do we not, think we have that time, or we not feel comfortable, being that close with ourselves? Those little nuances, is where the gold is.
I have a couple of things. I have lots of people saying great topics and they're loving it. They're doing it along with us. I'm going to have Kyla tell us a little bit about the menstrual movement, but go ahead and ask any questions you want her to cover before we're done as she goes through that. So tell us a little bit about the event, and then I'll come back and ask any questions that I see pop up.
Amazing. Yeah, Dr. Shannyn's going to be part of the Menstrual Movement Summit. So it's experts revealing secrets on how to relieve their menstrual symptoms to unlock deep spiritual wisdom. It's been so exciting, reaching out to amazing experts like Dr. Shannyn Pearce, and bringing this conversation together. It is a movement. It's on October the 14th. It's live. It's virtual. It's from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. PST. So there's a lot happening there. You can, check in when you need to check in, and check out when you don't. There's a replay available as well, so don't worry about missing anything. And each speaker has a free gift for the viewers, a way to really support you. And you got a group of women that just want to help women and are very, very passionate about. So I think any woman who shows up there and says yes is you're just saying yes to the abundance of the support that's coming to you. And like, how many women can say that they have enough of that?
Yeah, No, it's missing for sure. I also want to just reiterate that even if you're past cycling age, even you're in menopause, whatever, I believe women need this information because it's our duty now, whether you're still a cycling female or not, to teach and help and support younger generations the way we never were. So I believe this is relevant for everybody, whether you still have a cycle or not, because the information is valid and it really transcends just a cycle, right? I think a lot of what they're going to learn is about healing and self-love in general, right? We just tend to really manifest that in our cycles and our menstrual cycle, but I think it's relevant for everybody. So even if you're not an actively cycling female, highly recommend you still get on there. I'm going to have, so this is kind of the intro video for that. When the registration page and everything is ready, I will make sure all of that is posted right here in the group so you guys have access to it. We're going to email out the replay of this video so you can go back and look at where those points were and be able to do those. But just a couple of things. Really, it's just people with topics. One lady said every time one of these videos comes up, it just tends to hit the nail on the head of what she's going through at the moment. So she found this very relevant. I love that.
Awesome.
Lots of people. Wonderful. All right, here's my homework for you guys. I love to leave you with actionable steps. You have 2 things I want you to do. The first one is you are going to commit to every single day, sit with those 3 points we just taught you. Calmly with yourself, alone, preferably in silence or listening to something that's supportive for you. But take that time, even just a few minutes every day over this next week and watch what a difference it makes for your physical and spiritual well-being. That's homework number 1. Homework number 2 is sign up for the menstrual movement as soon as you see the post go up and the link sent out. I want to make sure you guys all get on there. If you have other questions or if you're watching the replay, I'm going to get Kyla in the group so she can come back and answer any questions if you have specific questions about anything we talked about today. So feel free to answer or ask those questions and we'll come back with answers. But Kyla, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day. I love how you're supporting women. These conversations are so needed. You're welcome back anytime to come speak and share the things that you do in the world. So thank you very much. And I'm excited to see you on October 14th.
Amazing. Thank you so much. It's really great to be here. Thanks everybody for graciously allowing me in your space. I hope you have a really wonderful rest of your day.
You too. Thanks so much. Bye, everyone.